Wake that ass up
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building on the phone lines right now, Miss Shanti Das. Good morning.
Good morning, Shanti.
Hey.
How
Hey,
are
Shanti.
you?
Hey, Angela. I'm doing okay. I live by myself, so the isolation is getting to me at times, but I'm trying to follow all my directions that I give to everybody else to stay present and to stay connected. But it gets to be a bit much at times.
I'm with you. I live by myself. I live by myself too. So I am enjoying some of the downtime, but then other times you're like, all right now.
Girl, the other night I felt like, you remember that movie that Tom Hanks was in, Castaway? I was like calling Wilson. I'm like,
with Wilson.
somebody.
It is Mental Health Awareness Month, Shanti. So who are you talking to?
So honestly, I'm talking to a lot of people in our underserved communities, just trying to reach out and talk to people on social media. But my friends and family, they kind of grew up with me. A year ago, I lost my sister, and it just happened when I came on your show last year. But just the people that really know me and that love me and don't judge me. And if I'm having a moment, they'll talk me through it,
Dope.
Now, let's talk about silence to shame a little bit for people that don't know. Let's explain what silence to shame is, and let's go through that.
So Silence to Shame is an education and awareness and advocacy organization. We exist to educate communities around mental health and wellness, especially communities of color. So we do community conversations. Thank you, Charlamagne, for always being a part of our talks. We have a podcast on Google Play, iTunes, and SoundCloud where we interview everyday people and celebrities and clinicians just to talk about things affecting our community, from postpartum depression to post-traumatic slave disorder, or just the PTSD that our kids experience in our urban communities. We also offer free mental health first aid training. It's kind of like taking a CPR course, but it's an 8-hour course, which really gives people a general understanding of the different mental illnesses that exist and, ways to de-escalate a crisis. So we do a lot for the community. We are a small but mighty organization, and we're just hoping that we continue to uplift our communities and get people to being okay with getting help if they need it. So I want to thank you guys, the Breakfast Club, for just being a platform that people can share and talk about mental health openly, because it's really helping a lot of people.
And today is Silence to Shame Day, correct?
It is. It's National Silence to Shame Day. A few years ago, I had a little idea to just make a flyer and see if anybody would post, and we got 90 million impressions. And so the National Day Register gave us our own day. So before y'all take these shots today, make sure y'all check out Silence to Shame.
Hey,
I see you're talking to Michelle Williams. I see you're talking to Michelle Williams today too for Silence to Shame Day.
Actually, I talked to Michelle yesterday. Today, I'm talking to Common and Swiss Beats.
Oh, wow.
Common
Okay.
openly talks a lot about mental health, and I want to talk to him specifically about some of the work that he's done in the prisons and how a lot of the inmates are not really getting the mental health support that they need. And then, of course, Swiss Beats, with what he's been able to do with Versus, I think it has really added a much needed level of self-care for everybody. Because, the anticipation of all the battles, and, we got Erica and Jill coming up. So everybody feel like, they going to an event, Babyface. I was like, okay, let me find a little outfit to rock for Teddy Riley. It actually got my endorphins going. It put me in a better mood. So we're going to chop it up later today.
Shanti, what kind of impact does coronavirus have on mental health, and how has that driven your mission even more?
So, I think people are definitely more stressed out. They're more anxious. There's a heightened level, I think, of depression in our communities, especially when you talk about communities of color, because so many of us in the African-American community, the Latino community, we're on the front lines, right? We're the mail carriers, we're the delivery drivers, we're the sanitation workers. And, by not having the right PPP that's needed, we still got to go out and make the donuts for our families and for the communities. And so it's just making people a lot more stressed out. And I really don't think that we have enough tools that we're equipped with to process through this. Even just last week, rest in peace to the doctor in New York that took her own life. She actually was, contracted with she had contracted the disease, but also was on the front lines helping everybody else. And it's showing everybody that, it's okay to get help if you need it. And shout out to New York, because there is a helpline number, 844-863 9341. It's over 6,000 clinicians giving free telehealth services for mental health. So, we just got to do what we can right now through COVID-19, but really be able to provide resources to our friends and family. That's why it's so important to educate ourselves, because you might not have a mental illness, but you might have somebody else in your family that's affected by it, or in your church community, or in your circle of friends. So we have to learn as much as we can so we can empower one another.
How much have you been watching the news, and how does that affect your mood? Because I know a lot of us are trying to keep updated. Things are changing daily, and sometimes it can be a lot just to watch what's happening.
Absolutely.
So it's funny y'all say that. I definitely limit my news consumption. We do a lot of work with the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, and they released a report on workplace wellness and working from home, and they talked about the importance of limiting your news consumption. Like for me, I try to wake up and check the national news, because the local news to me is just depressing anyway, even pre-COVID-19. So I check the national news so I can get the facts, and then I take breaks. I may not tap into it until the afternoon or either the nightly news, because it stresses me out even more. I want to stay informed because I want to know what's going on with states reopening, and you should want to know, but you have to make sure that you're watching your consumption of not only the news, but social media. Right? Because I find it crazy. Like I was watching somebody's IG live, it was about music, but people were still trolling and being negative. I'm like, y'all, people are out here dying. Like y'all really want to be trolling somebody's page? So that I can't let that negativity into my spirit, because it brings me way down. So I encourage y'all to limit your social media and your news consumption.
Absolutely.
Do you think our leadership, like American leadership, has responded appropriately in ways to support people suffering from mental health during this pandemic? Like, because I don't know if the mental health aspect is being touched on as much as it should be.
So I see it being touched on like in the news, but I haven't really heard a lot of our leaders like I want to come out and talk about it. I mean, certainly like someone from a pop culture perspective, like I know Oprah is doing some different webisodes and stuff on mental health that's going to be on her Apple TV platform that she has. But I would like to see more of our, governors and our mayors and our senators and folks like that really talking about it. Because pre-COVID, we were seeing a decline in the amount of resources and funding that states were getting. And so, post-COVID, people are definitely still going to be in trouble from a mental health perspective. So our leaders need to really understand the importance of it, and they got to pour more money into the mental health space, which is why, a small organization like Silence the Shame, I know we can't service everybody, but one of the reasons why we're raising money today is so that we can do more community conversations, we can do more mental health first aid training. We also want to donate a portion of the proceeds to free therapy, because you talk about people in rural communities, you might be able to go into the hospital in a major city, but a lot of people in rural areas who, it's like one town store and, 100 people and everybody know each other. Like those are the people who really are like suffering from a lack of mental health resources. And I really think our state representatives and our governors, like I said, really need to do a better job of making sure that they have access to services.
All right. Well,
where do they go donate?
Hold on, Charlamagne. Let's come back and talk to some more. We have more with Shanti Das when we come back today. It's Silence the Shame Day. We're going to talk to them. We're going to find out where we can donate and what is online that people can go to online to try to help themselves out. All right. So don't move. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We have Shanti Das on the line right now. Today is Silence the Shame Day. It's a nonprofit organization that focuses on the education and awareness around mental health. Now, Charlamagne, you just asked, where can people donate, right?
Yeah, where can they donate to Silence the Shame? I know, but where can they, if they want to donate today?
So if you guys want to donate, you can go and text the word silence to 707-070, or you can go on our website, www.silencetheshame.com. And it's important to note that we are a 501c3, so all donations are tax deductible.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to make a donation today. And I want to ask you too, Shanti, do you think that this pandemic will have long-term effects on people's mental health?
Yeah, I do. I really think that we're going to experience a lot of PTSD from it. Again, like I was mentioning earlier, just people that are more stressed. You really don't think about not only losing a loved one. When we talk about grief and loss, right? Think about the symbolic losses that people experience. Loss of, physical connection, loss of their jobs, loss of financing. I mean, it's so many different things that you can talk about from a symbolic loss perspective. And as these, states start reopening, everybody might not get their job right away, right? Or a lot of people are still in the hole. That $1,200 stimulus package, that barely covers rent for some people. What about food? What about when school starts back up? It's going to be so much going on. People are going to be stressed to no end. But the good news is help is out there, but we got to pay attention to it because, again, I think the levels of anxiety that people are going to experience post-COVID, I don't think anybody's really thinking about that yet. We're obviously trying to deal with the now. But what does this new normal look like, when we are able to go back to work?
I think
I just think how heartbreaking it is too. Like our friend Trav that calls every morning, his grandfather passed, but no one could go to the funeral, and that has to weigh on you when you think about people right now that have to deal with loss like that and see a loved one have a funeral but not be able to attend the funeral. Or you see in Brooklyn bodies outside of a funeral home in a U-Haul truck. Just all of the terrible ways that we're not able to connect that we have perhaps taken for granted in the past.
I'm glad you brought that up, Angela. I've read recently, and there's a friend of mine, I won't mention her name just out of respect for her family. She lost her mother, her grandmother, and her aunt, all within 2 weeks. And these were the three women that were at the center of her life. And so I can't even imagine the type of grief and loss that she's dealing with right now. Wow. And so to your point, we did a webinar. Silence and Shame has been doing free webinars during COVID-19. And so there is one that we did on grief and loss. And we had a trauma expert, Dr. Ajita Robinson, who is a bad sister out of Maryland. I urge you guys to go to our Silence to Shame TV page on YouTube and check it out under grief and loss, because hopefully, you can find a lot of tips that can help you through it. But it's devastating. I even lost a cousin 2 weeks ago in Michigan. And, they had to wait 2 weeks, and they're planning the service this weekend, and we'll all be able to watch it virtually. But the fact, think about in our communities, right? Like the funeral, even though it's a sad occasion, it's a celebration of life, right? And you talk about the repast and being able to go and fellowship and eat fried chicken or whatever it is that you like with your family and hug on one another and love on one another. We can't do that. And so those types of experiences that we're going to be able to miss, it's definitely going to have an emotional aspect on our lives. And so we have to be more patient with one another. We have to provide one another grace. We have to provide one another favor in this time, because, you really don't know what people are going through. And I know we get on IG a lot and we talk about, you got to do this, you got to stay positive, and you got to start a brand and you got to come out better than, man, some people just barely waking up in the morning.
Right. Just trying to come out.
Just want to come out, period. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to be able to provide some level of grace. Go ahead.
Now, what about parents? We think about a lot of adults losing jobs, but for kids, I mean, the fact that they have, they can't see their friends, they're not going to school, they're stuck in a rut. A lot of them can't go outside, they can't go to the park. So how do we deal with kids during this time with their mental health?
So it's really, interesting, I think, for parents right now, because again, with them having to homeschool and then try to still work from the home, it gets to be a lot on them. But for children, we need parents to understand how to talk to them. Kids aren't necessarily going to understand the bigger words like stress and anxiety and depression. Yeah. But what you want to ask them is, how you feeling today? Or if they come to you and tell you that they have a stomach ache, that may be that they're anxious about something, or that they're sad about something. Or if they're withdrawing from you and not really wanting to come and eat dinner at the dinner table or participate, whether you're doing Zoom, family, virtual things or whatever, if that child is withdrawing, parents really need to understand that it might not just be that child being a brat or them being a typical teenager. They may actually be experiencing a lot of anxiety, because like my nephew is a high school senior and he can't have his graduation right now. And, so many kids didn't have proms, or, they're missing out on the activity of sport, which to me, sports is a great way to help our kids from an emotional health and wellness perspective, because of that connectivity and bonding that happens. All of that is gone for them right now. And at some point you get tired of Zooming. Like the other day I was zoomed out.
Tell me about it.
Right? I love the connection, but at a certain point I was like, this is not working for me. And so parents just need to really pay close attention to their children, and more than ever, talk to your kids. You can't just, text with them or, pass them, in the kitchen or in the basement and say, oh, go play your games or go talk to your friends. No, talk to your children and see how they're feeling so we can recognize, you know, you may need to see a family therapist and talk about it as a family.
Absolutely. You know what, Shanti, do you think it's necessary for schools to offer mental health services and include those conversations into the curriculum, especially after this global pandemic?
Absolutely. Just last year, I was reading where the state of Florida, and I want to say maybe Virginia and another state, they were starting to offer at least 5 hours of mandatory mental health education for students in grades 6 through K. And I think that's very important. And I even think we need to find ways to, you know, talk to our kids in K through 5 about their feelings. So yes, absolutely. I hope, you know, we can make sure that, you know, we are voting for the right people, you know, to get in office in November that will understand the importance of emotional health and wellness, because kids now, just like, you know, you have sex education or just like they take PE classes, they need education on mental health now more so than ever.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us. Now, for people out there that want to donate,
Always.
can you tell them how to donate one more time, just in case they just joined us?
Yes, you can text silence to 707-070, or you can go to our website, silencetheshame.com. I also quickly want to let you guys know. So I created this new kind of marketing campaign for us, because y'all know I used to do marketing in the music business. So I created Dance to Donate, where a bunch of DJs, producers, and artists have been doing live sets, and we're going to be raising funds for Silence the Shame for the next 2 weeks. So we already had DJ Trauma and Brian Michael Cox and Dallas Austin jumped it off this weekend for us. Today on IG, Jermaine Dupree is doing a set from 4 to 6 p.m. And then we got DJ MOS from 6 to 8 p.m. and DJ Mars from 8 to 9, and a lot more. Envy, I saw you over the weekend. I came to your house party. It looked like y'all was up in the club. I was like, that's
you was whining,
I was whining. I was getting my, you know, my little mossy on, but it was dope. But we, you know, would love to even have you do a set if you would consider it. So we're calling DJs to help us donate.
I'm in. Let's let me know the time. I'll call you outside of this. Let's let me know the time, and I'm in.
That would be dope. It's a lot of fun. So y'all make sure that you understand the importance of emotional health and wellness. Let's silence the shame in our communities. Our goal for 2020 is to raise $1 million. We also are going to give some of the money to students of color, because there is a really lack of clinicians of color in our community. And not to say that you can't go to a therapist that doesn't look like you, but we found that oftentimes, you know, that could help people from a cultural competency perspective. So we want to be able to fund that as well, and hopefully one day partner up with Taraji's Foundation, because they're doing some amazing work as well.
That's the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation. Salute to Tracy and Taraji. You, Tracy, you, Shanti, and Tracy and Taraji are just 3 of my favorite people that I love to, you know, support in this space, man, because y'all really out here doing the work.
I love you guys too, and thank you again for being on Yale Wellness, which is something else. You know, my marketing wheels were spinning, so I created a IG live show called Yale Wellness. And Charlamagne, you were my first guest, and I've had everybody from, you know, Tisha Campbell to Dondre Whitfield, and as I mentioned, I'm going to be talking to Swiss Beats today and Common. So you guys check out the Yale Wellness platform on my IG, excuse me, at Shanti Das 404.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, Shanti Das. Appreciate you and all the work that you're doing. We're so grateful and thankful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shanti.
Thank you, Shanti.
Guys, I love you all. Happy Silence and Shame Day.
Love you too.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.